Hello and welcome to the Outcast. I'm your host HC, and with me is.
Wolf.
And happy Valentine's Day on the day this is being recorded and uploaded. We totally planned this. There was no way. We knew this was gonna happen. This isn't just a case of complete and random luck. This was on the plan.
I mean, we're
This was
professionals like that.
planned.
We're professionals like that. So,
Yep. Unprofessional and debatably amusing totally means professional.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But if you can if you can tell by the title and the thumbnail, we're talking about Heated Rivalry, the latest show from it's technically HBO Max distributes it, but it's not made by them. It's made by Carve, which I haven't heard, or Crave, which
Crave.
I've never heard about until this show, but okay. So, Wolf, let me ask you, did you hear about this show? Because this came out in December, so it's really new. And it just started taking over everything that I personally saw. What is your experience with this before you watch the show?
Before I watched it,
Before.
nothing. Never heard of it.
So I just told you, hey, you want to do this thing that I've heard about? And you said, yeah, and here we are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so to me, I just saw a bunch of people in my friend group talk about it. I saw the poster, I saw the name, I saw the two hockey players, and I thought to myself, I know nothing about hockey, but I can tell that these two are gonna fuck. I guess I'm putting this on my list to watch things because I keep hearing people talk about it. And yeah, sure enough, here we are. And I'm also going to assume you haven't read the books that this is based on.
No, I have not. I did not know it was
Neither
based on a
have
book
I.
until I started doing a little bit of research after I watched it.
Yeah, so same here. The only thing I can tell you from the book is that I know this is basically based on the second book more than anything, and that's about it. But we haven't read the books for ourselves, so any differences, if the book did something better, if the show did something better, or vice versa, we don't know. We are going to talk about this as a show.
Well, considering the
And
reception to the show, I don't think we have to worry about the book doing it better.
yeah, from what I've heard, from what I've heard, the show is well regarded in when it comes to the fan base reaction. I
Mm.
guess like with every kind of adaptation, you probably have the ones I prefer this element over that element. Maybe there's a small thing that's a bit that's different, and but it's not that big of a deal from what I've heard either.
We should mention,
However,
just in case anyone's curious, this is based on the Game Changers novel series by Rachel Reed.
yes. So before we actually get to the show itself, I have to ask you, what do you know about hockey?
Um, I have like a passing knowledge of the sport, but I'm not like super familiar with it. I should say it's not like my sport. I say that like I have a
Yeah.
sport. I don't.
Well, here's what I know. There's a bat, there's a puck, get the puck in the into inside the goal with the puck. And there's a good chance you may get severely injured while you play it. That's where my knowledge of hockey ends.
And hey,
I don't really know.
that's all you need for this show.
I suppose I've seen a lot of memes running around that I love something about I've watched the entirety of Rivalry and I don't know anything else about hockey than I did before the show. So, yeah, this show isn't here to teach you anything about hockey, which arguably it doesn't need to. That being said, I think it's a good show.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think this was a really. I would say I binged this show yesterday, for me at least.
Oh, So
And
like you didn't even take any break. You just ran through all 6 episodes.
yeah, actually, and
Nice.
I say that because like genuinely, I got really engrossed in it. It uses its time well. I never felt bored
Yeah.
watching this.
Yeah, and it's surprising when you consider that we're talking about the fact that each episode is like an hour long, and
Yeah,
usually you feel that, and especially when you really get down to it. And I'm not saying this as a drawback or anything. Not it's not really a show that has any sort of big developments in it as you go. Right? We're not gonna go into specifics yet. We're not in the spoiler section, but it's not a show that the story doesn't really go anywhere in the end. He doesn't really try. He doesn't really set up for something. It's just the lives of these two hockey players and their romance. And honestly, maybe it's the chemistry between them. Maybe it's the way it's written. Maybe it's the way it's edited and paced. But there's just something about it that there's nothing. When you get down to it, there's nothing huge that necessarily goes on, but you just want to see these characters make it, you know?
yeah. No, I mean, I would say like the biggest reveals here are, I'm gay, and that's it. Like,
Yeah.
like that's the biggest reveal in this show, and but yet like as you said, right? It just feels really enjoyable to watch, and again, it feels like it uses its time exceptionally well. In that, at least for me, anyways, I was engrossed while watching it the entire time. Like there was nothing. There was again, as I said, right. There's no point where I felt bored. There was no point where I felt like, okay, let's get on with it. Come on, let's go, let's go. There was just no point where it felt like it was just wasting my time, or I felt like my time was wasted. Right,
Yeah.
right.
And not only that though, but I think it's the final episode where it just kind of hit me how special this show is in terms of other stuff that's out there, other type of be it TV shows, streaming shows, even movies. The final episode is where it really hit me just how different and arguably special this is, because there's nothing really special about it. There's no bullshit.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
actually, that's actually a really good point. Considering what the final episode is, it in a lot of other shows, I feel like that would be considered an extremely boring episode. And a lot of people would be asking, like, why the fuck am I watching this? But for this one, it really does just feel like another episode. And just like, no, that was great. I liked that. That was
Mhm.
wonderful.
Yeah, but we'll get to more details in the spoiler section. So, is there anything else non-spoilery that you want to say?
Uh, no. Let's jump into it.
So, I guess I should kind of stress something here. Two straight guys over here, so we can tell you the intricacies of how this works. Okay, we are here to talk about this as a show. If you want us to go in detail about something, sorry. That's all I can tell. That's all I can tell you. That being said, spoilers in three, two, one. So before we go to Shane and Ilya, I just have to say, what are the odds that this is the second show on HBO Max where episode 3 is taken by a gay couple that has nothing to do with the main plot, kinda, and it's kind of the best part about the show. What are the damn odds?
I'd, I'd agree. Like, when it was when I was watching, I was like, wow, I actually kind of like these two more than I do Shane and Ilya.
Like Shane and Lily are great. Do not misunderstand us, but there was just something that's like I remember thinking to myself, I don't know who's these two. Like a Hunter we see before, right? We see him in episode 2, I think. But so we see him before, we know him, but suddenly we just get to episode 3 and you just get these two other dudes, and Shane and Ilya aren't really in it, right? If they are really sidelined, and it's like, honestly, I don't really care because I kind of like these two guys. They are adorable. I want them to
Hmm.
end up together. So got my wish, I suppose.
I would agree though. Like they come in, and I would say it's very fair to say they kind of steal the show for that entire episode, and it's like, wow, this is great. I actually really enjoy this. Also, it wasn't until, to be honest, episode 6 where Shane and Ilya won me back over as characters. Right?
Well, to be fair, something that I found interesting while doing some research is that Shane and Ilya in the books are the second book, not the first, the second.
Hmm.
But Hunter and his boyfriend, whose name escapes me at the moment, I'm
Yep.
so sorry. Yeah, so they're book one. So
Mm.
that's interesting in terms of that you decide to go for to adapt the second book first. In terms of this is the one that you are basing most of the show on, but then you just dedicate this entire episode arc to the original book and making it a side plot which pushes the main couple further.
It,
That's so cool
it
in terms of an
works.
adaptation. Like
It works
it
really
works.
well though. I would say
Hmm.
because like
No, it
again,
works well.
episode 3 very much. Let's be honest, right? Like if you told me episode 3 is a pilot for an entirely different show, like I probably would believe you almost, right? Because that's kind of what it feels like. Almost a different show where it's just different characters that we're focused on and a different relationship dynamic. But
I
I
compare
well
it to
here,
The
like
Last
you
of Us.
said. Yeah, true.
Hmm.
It's used so well here to further the two main characters in their plot, right? Especially later on in episode
Because
5.
okay, so let's not really cut around this. The main thing that's surrounding these two couples, right, is the idea of how would that be perceived if a hockey player comes out as gay?
Mhm.
Considering that it's considered like a very manly sport, and apparently it has been downplayed in the show from what I've heard, but apparently the books are really, really critical of how like the hockey community would treat a gay player supposedly.
Mhm.
Again, haven't read them for myself. That's what I heard.
Well, it's also
So
right. Like you have to consider too the time the show is set within, and possibly the books as well, as well as just like general reception of you're gay, right, and how people in general react to
yeah,
that, right, not just within hockey. So I can
because
understand why there would be fear for someone wanting to do that.
mhm. And especially with Ilya is the most apparent because he's
Yes.
from Russia, and this is not trying to be political or anything, but this topic is not well received in Russia
No,
at
that's
all.
fair to say, I think.
Well, just to say this, that the live action remake of Beauty and the Beast was banned there because they made LeFou gay.
Hmm. I'm aware.
So, case in point to what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, uh, but so in terms of this, so you on the one hand you have this character that already just from his house, if his family knows about this, he's done. This is not good. This is not going to end well for him whatsoever.
Hmm.
But in terms of at least with Hunter and Shane, there's this entire thing that they can't really be out because how is the hockey league is going to accept that, right? How are they going to be seen? And Shane also has this extra burden because he's like, oh, I'm Asian Canadian, I'm not. There's always this kind of thing where there's this kind of fear where is he a token to some kind? It's like, yeah, representation, we get it, yeah, the, it's not something that they hardly focus on, but it's totally there.
Hmm.
And considering also that his mother and I think his father too, but that his mother is also his manager and everything, that's both of them have something to lose if this breaks, and just because of it, suddenly they that's it, it's done.
Hmm.
Nothing is good. The league is going to blacklist them because of that. And I think this is another thing where the show kind of shines, that it shows that it shows just men not being man all the time, right? You see the soft, you see the tender, you see that,
Mhm.
yeah, guys are chill too when they are not beating each other up in hockey.
Fair.
So yeah, that's just something that I like about this representation of what just being a man in the media is like. Forget the gay stuff, forget where you're from, forget it. It just shows that, yeah, you need to put on a show for this kind of thing. But how much can this show last once the camera is off, once people don't see you?
That's fair. I agree.
So anything in particular that struck you when it comes to what they're talking about in this show?
Oh, I, I mean, I think you kind of said it all already.
Yeah, so that's the problem. I was afraid I kind of hugged the mic over this, but if there's anything else,
I think, right? eh, I think this was just speaking of just in general shows, right? Like I know we're in spoilers.
yes.
Oh, we've not really talked about the show itself much, right?
Hmm?
But I do want to say, right? For me at least, there
Yes.
is a feeling I have had for quite some time, and it is nice to see something that has gotten popular that is
Mhm.
not this. So I'm gonna say something. I want to make a lot of people mad, mostly because it's a little bit funny, and then I'm gonna clarify.
Okay.
So for romance stories from anything really, a lot of the times, what would have been the two romances that we see the most? Straight romance and lesbian romance.
Hmm.
For most popular stuff. Not saying there's other things that aren't out there. They are, but for the most popular
Yeah,
stuff,
but
that's generally what we get.
I get you.
God, I am so tired. It's not lesbians. I'm tired of lesbians. I'm saying it. I'm sorry. I am tired
S-
of lesbians.
what Wolf is trying to say is that he doesn't hate the lesbian ships that we see in shows. Just look at some of the podcasts we did. What he
No,
means is that
let
the
me clarify, right? Yes, you're right. I
yeah.
don't nothing wrong with lesbians. Love you to death. You're great. I'm glad it's something different because and again, let me be clear, right? I would be fine if it was a different lesbian romance as well because you know, and to say something right, for lesbians romance for them whenever we've covered anything that they've been in, there's two particular archetypes they almost always fit into. The butch one and the not butch one, and that's it, right? The more male coded one and the less male coded one for a lesbian romance, and that's it. And it's always the same two lesbians. It's always the same two
And
fucking lesbians in shows for the most part. There's
arguable,
been
but okay, I get you.
there's been differences. You know, to be fair, there definitely have been differences. I would say like Owl House was one that was very
Mhm.
different, but
Yeah.
I am happy to see something that has, as far as I can tell, gotten extremely popular, even though they did like zero marketing for this fucking thing,
Yeah.
as far as I can tell. That
Hmm.
that is just a gay couple for once, right? Like it's two guys. That's great. I kind of like that. And I think that's one of the reasons why I stuck with it for a lot longer and didn't feel as bored by it because it's something that's just so different from what we normally get, in my opinion,
Yeah.
especially for again
Hmm.
popular media. Not saying again
Hmm.
because I understand there is other things out there that does exist that covers gay couples and other stuff and other all the different spectrum of LGBTQ, right? But we don't see a lot of that in popular media, and so it's nice to finally get one, especially again one that has gotten so popular.
Yeah. Agreed.
So yeah,
And I
that's just
think,
my nice little takeaway from this. Like I hope this shows because it's gotten so popular that oh shit, we can do more of this and people really enjoy it. Hmm, good to know.
if anything, if anything, I've heard people compare this to, so kind of saying that this is this year's K-pop Demon Hunters to a degree, and I can kind of see why. Something that was just dropped on a streaming platform, and out of nowhere, it just kind of blew
I
up.
mean, didn't they come out at the same time? last
Yeah,
year.
and again, doing like a very slow point, like not like because Cape of Demon Hunters was already like at the start of 2025. This is December of 20, so
Yeah, true. Fair, fair.
technically the same year, but it just I didn't hear about it until January.
This is also
So
fair. I did not. I didn't hear about it until you said something. So yeah,
yeah.
not really much of a difference. Again, as far as I can tell, the way from what I've read, they did zero marketing for this. They just kind of
Yeah.
here you go and walked off and just kind of
So
just threw
again,
it out there. And it
and
apparently
again,
this got as popular as it did due to mostly word of mouth.
it's word of mouth, and also just apparently I've read somewhere that that some of the executives behind the show were also kind of like, we had no idea that this would get an audience. Like even they don't know why it gotten so popular, supposedly.
This shows
But
that they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
sometimes they don't know what the fuck they're doing, definitely. But at the very least, there is a second season coming, so there's some good news to all of this.
Hmm, nice.
But so yeah, it's also interesting that yeah, you look at this thing that has zero marketing. Nobody's. I'm not to discredit the books or anything. I'm sure that they're good,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
again, there's obviously a target audience because otherwise there wouldn't be a show, right?
True.
But you know, it's not something that like blew up before this, right? It's not like Harry Potter that people knew, oh, they're making a movie about the book, right? Or
Mhm.
some or Hunger Games or any other or enter book adaptation here basically. It's not something that was like out there, and then not only is it based on a book that obviously popular but not widespread or something. And then you also get a show that's not necessarily playing by the rules of how you do a show like this, because like we talked about this already, but there isn't really anything high stakes about the show. There isn't, like obviously the the couples are going through the rough spots. There is some romance drama that you might expect in a show like this. But at the end of the day, when you look at the final episode, what is the final episode?
I should
I'm
throw in
asking you.
spoilers. Literally, the final episode is just watching two dudes live together. That was
Yeah,
it.
it's just Shane and Elia living together. That's all this is. And now, let me ask you this: what is the climax to the show?
The climax to episode 6 is literally his dad came to their home and saw them two kiss, and so he has to go come out to his parents. Like that's the climax of this show, and it's like
But
it
again,
just
it's so
feels,
simple.
but and it
It's so
feels so good
simple.
though.
Yeah, that's it. And I love that there's no bullshit here. It's not like that they have to come out to the entire hockey league or something. It's not that there's like a race against time or that Shane needs to catch Ilya before he goes on the plane to Russia forever and he's never gonna see him again if he misses him. And there's no stupid misunderstanding. There's no anything. It's just these two dudes who are in love, and we see them live together and being with each other, and one being there for the other when times get rough, because again kind of because of where he came from and how his family is like. Ilya is like the tough one in this show, and he needs to support Shane through when he's going through something very rough. And also Ilya is the one who drops the boyfriend moniker on them, so that's also kind of wholesome.
Mhm.
So you see what I mean, though. No other show about romance would do something like this. They would come up with some sort of like third act, you know? No, there's no bullshit here. It's just these two. And it's oddly engaging because you know something? I like these two together.
Honestly, you are right. Like they do, the show does really well at avoiding a lot of your typical romance tropes. But at the same time, it does also have that. Like we do have, I don't know if I'd call it a misunderstanding, but we do have that uh, bit of
I get what you. There is like this in episode 3 or 4 when Shane starts dating that actress for a bit.
Yes, Rose. Yeah, like we have.
Mhm.
Again, I don't know if I'd call it a misunderstanding, but we have that bit of
No.
oh, I'm trying to make you jealous arc, right? Or I'm trying to like figure
Oh,
things
that
out. I
he's kind of
guess you'd say.
confused. I think it's also that he's confused because he just realized that he might actually like Ilya as more than just friends with benefits because that's
Hmm.
what they are for the start of it. And suddenly also when he just understands that because there's a good chance we know Ilya is bisexual,
Yes.
but Shane doesn't realize that he's gay until he realizes that he can't have sex with Rose because he's just not attracted to her.
Hmm.
So So there's that. And also, I kind of like that Rose doesn't make a big deal about it. She just accepts it. She's still a good friend to him.
Yeah, that was
It's like,
actually also really nice. Like it's
yeah,
just,
yeah,
hey, didn't work out. Not the first time I've been there.
yeah. Something. It's nice to see something that's not toxic in TV. For
Hmm.
God's sakes,
Yeah, there's definitely
I.
other shows that we have covered and or movies and shows that we have covered that definitely would have been like that would have made that feel bad.
Mhm.
And they probably would have worked for that particular story, sure. But it's nice that they didn't do it here, right? I fully
Yep.
agree with that.
So with all that being said, there's there is a joke in episode 6 that I actually really enjoyed. That they're playing the hockey video game on the console,
Ah, yes.
and and they kind of talk about and then I- Ilya just brings the box art up and says, "Dude, I am the cover." I just thought it was so funny because
Hmm.
yeah, that's literally the cover for all of these sports games. Is just take a specific and take a player, put him on the front. That's it.
That's funny
I
though.
just thought it was really funny.
Hmm.
No, the commentary is funny, I guess, but. The other thing, though, from what I've heard about the in the book, the climax is essentially them starting that foundation that they talk about it in the show too, that they
Yes, in
want to start a
episode basically in
foundation.
episode 6 as a way
Yeah,
to have them be together and it not be like weird, right? Because like as it stands right now, they're supposed to be rivals. Haha, heated
yeah,
rivalry.
no,
And
yeah.
they're not supposed they like you wouldn't expect them to be together. So in episode 6, a portion of episode 6 is them trying to figure out ways. Okay, so if you leave your team, how do we, make that work and be close together with one another without revealing anything to like the public?
We should imply, yeah, because up until that point, they just use the fact that their teams are playing against each other or alongside each other to so
To
that
hook up,
they
yeah.
could bang in the hotel whenever.
Yeah.
So, as from what I've heard in the book, that foundation is kind of the climax because when they started, that's their way of showing to the cameras that their rivalry is over. That's supposed to signify something. That's like
Yes.
that's the end all be all. And honestly, I kind of like the show's ending a bit more if that's the case. Again, not having read the books myself.
Well, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious, right, that we're probably if since you said they are going to do a season 2, that we're probably going to get that as well in season 2. That would make
Yeah.
the most sense. Which,
Hmm.
yeah, quick side, I'm here for that. Let's go. If they
Yeah.
continue up with this kind of quality and the way they did this, that'd be great.
Totally. I do know that apparently the sixth book in the series is the continuation of Shane and Ilya. So now is the question of how much are they going to follow that book?
Fair. And I mean, I don't know anything about the books at all whatsoever. So, the question you have to ask is like, how much do they follow the books here? Considering,
From what I've heard, from what I again from the little research that I've done, if there are any differences, they are not major.
hmm,
The general beats are the same.
well then. I think they can make the general beats the same. It's done well so far, so
I'm yeah, on that front, you know something, I am weirdly excited for season 2. I want to see where this goes, and I'll even be honest, this is one of those things that doesn't happen a lot, but I might actually try and get my hands on the sixth book just to see how the story continues ahead of time. But we'll see if this ever happens because I have so much to get to. I have so many things to do.
it's a long list and it keeps growing.
It keeps going and it's not fucking stopping. I can tell you that much.
Well, at least we have crossed one thing off of it.
Mhm. But you know what? We did start talking about Hunter for a second. I just have to say, when people said I sure as hell didn't learn anything about hockey from this show, I at least learned to put banana in the blueberry shake. That's my takeaway from this show. I'm not sure if it was meant to be a takeaway, but I'm taking it. If I ever have a shake, a blueberry shake at any point, I'll ask to add a banana to it.
Fair enough.
I hope you're happy, people behind the show, that I took something else from it.
Fair enough.
Okay. The other thing with Hunter, I have to say, episode 5. Can we talk about the scene where he wins the cup?
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's what we're here to do, right?
Yeah. Uh, if you ask me, this might be my favorite coming out scene in anything. Sorry, Stranger Things.
I mean, I'd agree though. It's so well done, and it just feels like
Like,
just such a nice
look,
thing, right?
look, people have told me that I can be a sap. I acknowledge that I can be a sap. But it was such a good sap, though. In terms of the build up and how it's filmed and how it's edited and how we see everything, this was such a good scene. I can't help it. I I'll do you better. I think this is the happiest I was for a fictional couple getting together in a long fucking time.
Fair.
I kind of like how this scene is so good that you don't even have anything to add to it. You
I
just
mean, I
agree to
can't disagree with
me.
you. Like, it's not.
Yeah, there's not. But
It's
that's
a
I
well
think
done
kind
scene,
of
right? It's one of those things like you watch it and you know what's going to happen the second like it holds on that scene for a bit longer, right? But it's still so well done that you just enjoy it anyways. Like it just feels really good. I don't know how
yeah.
I don't know if there's a better way to explain it other than it just feels really good. Like the way it's edited, the way it's shot, the way you could just see that like, Scott wants to do better and be better, right? And he's finally willing to, take that risk and step out, right? Like it's such a big moment, and but they also don't make
Yeah,
a lot of flair about it either. Like, you mentioned
because
Stranger
if
Things, right? Like Stranger Things, and again, I think it's okay to make a lot of flair about that moment too, if that's what you choose to do, right? Because sometimes that does happen. But I
yeah,
like this one in that no, it's very subdued, right? Like it's not when I say flair, there's that flair that Hollywood will apply to a scene, right? Where this isn't normal per se. Like this isn't a natural thing, right?
mhm.
Here, this
Yeah,
just feels natural. Like he decided to do this, and so he's doing it. End of discussion.
mhm. And also, I kind of like that there's no real sound in that scene. Now that I
Mm,
think about it, like you don't really hear what they're saying. You don't hear the people really. You kind of hear maybe the announcers commentating over it, but there's no. You don't hear what they're saying. You just let the action speak, so you can kind of fill
mhm.
in on your own what they're saying to each other. And like I said, the way it's paced is so freaking good.
And also
And
the go between what's happening at the hockey game as well, and also going back and forth between Ilya and Shane and their viewpoints also, and them watching it.
yeah, and also I love that as soon as it happens, Ilya is just calling Shane and said, "I'm coming to the cottage." That's it. That's all he needed. Like, You don't need anything else. It's just it's what I'd argue it's the best sequence in the show, maybe.
Fair, very fair.
And I also like that they kind of cap it up because when Hunter gives the speech about it, you can kind of tell that he probably got some not the nicest comments about it, but but what he focuses on are the young fans who tell him you have no idea how much this means to me, and it's so wholesome. For fuck's
Hmm.
sake, this show is is so wholesome.
Again, it's a show that I'm glad it avoids a lot of that toxicity, right? It doesn't focus on it. Yeah, you can probably assume that it's there, right? That's happening in the background, but you don't need it. It shows that you don't really need to show that if you
Hmm.
don't want to. You can still tell a story without it, and it still
Yeah,
be a very enjoyable story at that. I think that's
because the
the biggest takeaway from me as a straight guy, right? From this show is that you know is that you could just tell a story without a lot of the I think what we've come to accept is at times again and they can add to a story, there's nothing inherently wrong with them, but those toxic elements of oh no, we're going to show you the hate that he got, we're going to show you the reaction, right? And there's an argument to be made, right, that maybe they should have shown it, maybe they shouldn't have. Like you can have an entire discussion over that. I feel because again, you mentioned the books, like reading a little bit about them, and you even mentioned it yourself, right? That the books focus on that more, and
Mhm.
maybe that's
Yeah,
fine,
like the books were at least very critical of how the hockey leagues are treating gay
and that's
players.
fair, right? I think that's completely
Hmm.
fair and warranted, even. But
Yeah,
here, that's not the focus. The focus is something different, and I think that's okay, personally. I think that's fine. I think
which
it's fine that
I
this is choosing to focus on. We want to tell you the romance story between these two dudes, and
and
that's
the
our
other thing
focus.
is though that while you don't necessarily see it, there is some sort of a presence to it all around, right? In terms of how Shane and Ilya talk about it, the fact that Ilya is from a country that bans it, for a lack of a better term, right? There's and just the entire all the concerns that there are there, even if you don't necessarily see it, you feel it. It's
That's
surrounding
fair.
the entire show.
That's actually real fair. It's definitely you can feel that looming presence of a problem that's just kind of sitting there festering, right? That this is going to have to be addressed at some point, but you don't have to, at least right now, right?
Mhm.
But yeah, you
And
are
like
right.
you said,
You
it's
can
nice.
feel it, that toxicity that is sitting there. I guess
Mhm.
we'll say.
Yeah, but I think this is kind of the show's charm at the end of the day, that it's not trying. Again, like I said, there's no bullshit. The main conflict here is that you just feel it all around you, even
Hmm.
if you don't see the negative side of it, even if you don't see direct consequences of the bad stuff that can come from it. You feel it there, so that way you can actually enjoy it when they're not exposed to it and are just having fun with each other. And
Fair.
also helps that all the actors have great chemistry with each other. I did
Also,
some research. I couldn't find if the actors are actually gay in the show, but if they're not, impressive fucking acting. I can tell you that much.
I mean, everyone here did really great, right? Like really great actors.
Yeah. By the by, I just again while researching this, I found out that the actor playing Shane, his birthday was yesterday at the time of this recording. So happy birthday if you
Happy
happen to listen
birthday.
to this for whatever reason. That was random fact with HC. Anywho, moving on. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I don't know. I'm kind of blanking. I think we covered everything that I wanted to talk about. You got
Hey,
anything?
I just want to say. at least briefly,
Yeah.
right? Some really great parents in this, other than Ilya's dad. But I mean, even Ilya's dad isn't like even him. They don't show
Because
as being horrid, right? Like he's not a good father, but at the same time, he's like,
he's sick as well, so
well, one, I like that they showed, even if it was briefly, right? Someone suffering from dementia and the toll that can take on someone, right? And how that feels, right? And I think it's
mhm,
interesting watching Ilya, break down and be upset with himself that he wasn't able to take care of it, be there for his father and take care of him, right?
mhm,
It shows that even if you have a bad parent or a less than stellar parent, it shows that connection that can still be there and that want, right? I enjoyed that as well.
yeah.
But also just Shane's mom and dad, great parents, I feel. Like there's no drama there. Like, oh, you're gay? All right, fair enough. And I,
Like
I love that
you can
Shane's
tell that.
mom even said, like, yo, I'm sorry that you felt like you couldn't tell me. Right? Like,
And the other thing is that you could argue it's not even that it's the drama there isn't necessarily coming from the fact that Shane's gay, he's but that his boyfriend is Ilya Romanov.
yeah, they're more
He's
concerned with
uns
this is your rival. What the fuck?
Yeah, you see that's kind of thing. It's not even the orientation. It's just that of all the people, that guy.
Which is just funny.
Yeah, it's fun. It's funny, but I also think it's genuinely kind of wholesome that that the that it's the sexual orientation which you think would be the issue. Maybe even Shane sees that as the issue, isn't the problem. What's kind of shocking to them is that it's Ilya he fell for, and to be honest, kind of fair. I would be shocked if my son suddenly told me, "Hey, I'm dating my rival all of a sudden." Like I'll be like, If that's what does you good, then I'm supporting you. But give me a glass of water. I need to process this for a second."
Fair
Then
enough.
again, I've experienced. I've then again, in the many years of third wheeling some of my friends, I came across weirder shit. But
Uh, fair enough. Also,
you're never ready. You're
I
never
also
ready.
wanted to talk about too. I don't know about you, but I kind of loved Kip's dad. Like we didn't get much of him, but he just felt like such a great character as well.
Yeah, this was such a wholesome dad character.
Yes,
In general, Kip's friends are like
they were
they
also all really good. I loved
yeah,
Elena. She was great,
yeah,
and her just
yeah.
like
All of his
telling Scott like, "Yo, don't be a bitch.
mm,
You both deserve better than that." That's also another great thing. Like she was telling him like that could have been such again that's that kind of toxic element where hey he deserves better, and then she goes back in and tell him but you do as well. Like that's
yeah.
so good. Like that's such a
Yeah.
good moment.
Because in any other show, she would have told him, "You deserve better," and that would have been powerful enough. When she tells him that Kip deserves better, because that's like,
Yeah, because he
because
does
look at,
absolutely. She's
because
right.
but like, not only she's right, but look at Scott Hunter. He's like this big name hockey player, right? So when she tells this big hockey player, this no one, nobody essentially who's working at a shake store deserves better than you. In any other show, that would be like the mic drop. That would be like, yeah,
Hmm.
he like, bitch, I got him, and then everything. But then they drop that. You deserve better too, because she
Hmm.
tells them, "Fuck the fears, fuck everything. You two are happy with each other. Go for it. Screw everyone else."
No, that's fair. And again, it just feels like such a great moment because of that. Again, and it probably would have been fine if all she said was that, hey, Kip deserves better, right? But no, it's the fact that she comes back in and telling him you both deserve better, right? Just
Mhm.
feels just makes the moment, in my opinion, far better than what it could have been otherwise, right?
Agreed.
And I think that's just we've talked about it here or there, but I think that is the kind of like the shining point of the show is that again, like just man, it's so great that just like all of that toxicity that we normally see, and it's just not there.
Yeah, it's not again. It kind of like I said earlier. It feels nice when everything about the show feels genuine,
Mm,
and that there isn't any Hollywood bullshit that's trying to get in the way.
agreed.
With that said, I will say, and not that I think it's a bad thing, but just a funny story though. There's one of the most powerful scenes, in my opinion, is when Shane and Ilya are talking on the phone when Ilya is in Russia, and Shane
Mm,
tells them, "Can you tell me this in Russian?" Because Shane wouldn't understand what Ilya is saying, so Ilya can say whatever the fuck he wants. And that's also the scene where he kind of tells Shane that he loves him because he
the
knows
first
Shane
time,
wouldn't
yeah,
hear it. Yeah. I Great scene. Let's agree about
yeah,
this, right?
absolutely.
Fantastic scene. The music in the scene, though. I know you probably don't. Did you recognize the music? Did it sound familiar to you?
Not right off the top of my head.
Because I would recognize this music everywhere,
Uh
and I
oh.
thought about it until it clicked on me. This is the same music Doug Walker used in Ask That Guy with the Glasses, one of his shows on Channel Awesome. Hearing that music almost destroyed the entire scene for me
Of
because I
course.
can just see that fucking face with the pipe and the robe going, "That's a very good question," and before just bullshitting something idiotic. So, but this is just me and the internet shows I grew up on. But
Only you.
hearing that music, I'm like, where does? Oh no!
Only you. Only you.
No, I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one.
Not
I'm willing to
only
bet there's
you.
some
Only you.
comments. If anyone is listening to this and thought the same thing as I did, please validate me on this. It's a, it's just when Shane goes, "Can you tell me this in Russian?" I just, that's a very good question. But again, this is nothing else to say. This is just me having weird associations to stuff from the past. That's all.
Mhm. Normal HC
May,
things.
yeah, basically. Hey, you know what? We all have those weird
No,
associations.
that's
So
fair.
this is mine, I
Again,
suppose.
nothing wrong with it. It's completely fair. I'm still going to give you shit
Mhm.
for it, but nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, yeah. Said the guy who stayed until the end of the credits for Back to the Future because he thought there would be a post-credit scene.
Listen, man, I have been conditioned. I'll admit it.
Gotcha.
I have been conditioned. Fucking Hollywood got me. I'll
You've
admit it.
seen the movie
I
before.
know. And my dumbass, it's been a all right. I'm also old, so
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I
that's
get
my
it.
excuse. I'm old.
And I'm not.
No,
Oh, well, I don't know. I don't know where I was going with this, but anyway, that was just a silly little thing for my viewing experience. Anything else about Heated Rivalry? I think we kind of covered everything.
I mean,
So,
yeah, no, I mean, I honestly don't have too many terrible, bad things to say about this show. Like, I'd be nitpicking if I said anything like I didn't like this thing. To be honest, I just
so I don't really like the lens they use to film this. No, I'm
mm,
kidding. This
mm,
is this is really nitpicking by the.
yeah, very fair
But
though.
one thing I will say, I will because I thought about but didn't find a good point to bring up. I kind of like and kind of find it slightly uncomfortable that you see the timeline of 2008 and you're thinking to yourself, yeah, people are actually nostalgic for this year now. Like like the year because I think the show starts in like 2008, isn't it
I
2008 or something?
I think you're right. It's either
Yeah.
2008 or yes, you're right, 2008. Yeah, looking at the wiki real quick.
Yeah. So keep in mind that Shane and Ilya met for the first time when I started high school.
I was just
And now
graduating
let's
high
look about
school.
all the things that happen. Let's look about all the things that happened in the 18 years since. 18 years. You see what I mean? That's only you
Mm-hmm.
see these years that you remember, you existed, you've done things in these years, and it's like, fuck, then this is a nostalgia thing now. That like you look back and think like, what was 2008 fashion? What was 2008 like? You get what I mean? Again, nothing about the show in particular. It's just one of those things that you suddenly realize and you're like, whoa.
Yeah, actually, bringing that up, something came to mind. There is one nitpick I'm going to give this show.
Okay.
I understand that it might be like of the time, so it makes sense. But one of the first conversations you hear in this show is, or I think, no, it might be a bit later on. I don't remember exactly when it comes up in the show, but Shane is watching YouTube, and he mentions watching YouTube to his parents, and his
Hmm.
dad just sitting there asking, "What's YouTube?"
Yeah.
I'm like, that conversation felt so bad. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. That
Well, to be
conversation
honest,
just felt so bad.
I think though this is around that 2008, 2009 though, isn't it? I
Yeah,
think.
I think it is. I think this is at
Uh,
the very close to the start that they have that conversation. Like, it's a brief
And I
thing.
think and I think at that point YouTube was around by that point.
Yeah, YouTube's been
Like
around for a long time,
it,
but
yeah, but I think like it was past that point of people needed to discover that site. YouTube was like it's not the same thing as it is today. Like today, you say YouTube, everybody knows what YouTube
yes,
is.
yes.
But back in 2000, I think it was still for the general Joe. It would still it
I
would
don't
still be a
know.
bit new.
No, you're right. It's just one of those things that it just completely took me out of it, and I was like, "What the fuck?" I don't, I don't know why it bothered me. It just bothered me. It's like this just feels weird.
I think because it tries to go through this boomer humor, if you will.
I guess it just felt weird though. It just completely took me out of it for a moment, and I was like, "No, it's just no." It was just, I don't know. It just wasn't good. That is my one nitpick of this show.
Well, you heard it here. There's one bad thing about it, and it's a YouTube joke.
I don't even know if it was a joke. It was just a conversation, and just Shane's dad asking, "What's YouTube?" And it's just like, no,
But
just,
they try to be funny with it, I suppose.
I
Well,
guess it's
because
just weird. It just
when
stuck
this is
out
the
to me.
worst thing, yeah, but when this is the worst thing that we can think
This is
about in the
fair.
show, it's a good one.
This is fair. Yes, very fair.
Okay, so anything else? I
No, I
think
mean,
last thing though,
yeah,
again,
we should
as
ask.
people who haven't read the book,
Mhm.
what would you want to see in the second season?
Yeah, we should ask.
As
Like, what do we want from the second season? I mean, I'm gonna. This is another one of those shows where if I didn't get a second season, I would be perfectly fine with that.
true, same.
But since we are getting a second season, which I'm very glad of, I'm glad this got the popularity that it obviously deserves, right? I mean, I'm interested in seeing more of Shane and Ilya and how that relationship develops. I hope they're able to continue telling this story. I don't know if they can, right? They probably have to address it at some point, right? With that kind of like looming toxicity that's been sitting over everything, right? In how people are
Hmm.
going to react and feel. So I think it probably have to be addressed, but I hope they're able to continue doing things the same way they have been, even when they address it, if that makes sense. In this, in the way this show just addresses all of this, right, and how it just feels so good the way they do. I don't know how to explain this, but you'd
I get
understand
what
what
you
I
mean.
mean.
I get what you mean. That you think that if there is going to be a season two, then the toxicity and the hatred and for lack of a better term, homophobia that could surround the situation
Mhm.
has to catch up with them at some point.
Yeah, I mean, it does, right? Like, you do have to address that at some point, right? Especially because that's what they've been setting up for this entire season. So,
I'll tell
but I
you,
I do hope they're able to do it in a way that it just feels that it still feels good in the way this show feels good, if that makes
I
sense.
would argue, I would argue, maybe I get what you mean, and I do agree that it's probably something that should be addressed at some point, not in a season two though,
You don't think so?
because if anything, I think w- this season was essentially about them falling in love, right?
Mhm.
I think season and now their way of like ending their public rivalry is to start the foundation together. Starting a foundation is is a business, right? It's a business venture. And like with any other business venture, people are going to try and trip you up,
Mhm.
right? There are going to be a lot of decisions that they have to make. There's going to be a lot that's going to be problematic for them. So if anything, I think we don't necessarily need the toxicity of the outside world right now, because now their relationship could have a lot of personal conflicts just trying to get this foundation off the ground.
That's fair.
Now now this is the point where they start to disagree on this matter. It's a goal that they're very passionate about for their own personal reasons, but now and this is the point where you also have to ask yourself, well, what if they don't agree about every business decision? What if they decide to incorporate this plan and not this one? What if one guy wants to go in that direction, one guy wants to do this? You see, you don't necessarily need the outside world, because now you can have real relationship issues when it comes to the both of them trying to run the same thing.
That is fair. I don't disagree. I think that might so what you want from a season 2 is for it to build the relationship more before it brings in like that public reaction basically in a season 3.
because
That's fair.
because if we are going for the idea that now they are starting this foundation, and now they are going from rivals to now they're going from rivals to
Partners.
co-
Question mark.
partners, business partners. Let's go with that. Now, so we have that. If this is in the media now, I think them trying to figure themselves out while also running this business, season two could end with them coming out.
Mhm.
And then if there is a season three or another book focused on them, that's when the toxicity comes into play. This is when they have to face the wall, as they say. And but that's just me. Again, I have no idea what the sequel book about them is about. I might read it before,
Mhm. Mhm.
because this is probably going to take a while until season two is out.
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't
expect to
see
see
it
it
out
anytime
before
soon.
2027, if I'm honest with you.
Fair enough. I
So we'll wait and see.
I would also, I don't know about you, but I would enjoy because I know like Ilya mentions at the very end having talked to Scott briefly. I think it'd be
Mhm.
fun to see the three of them interact a bit more on screen, not off
Oh, you know
screen.
what? Let them double date.
Fair also. But yeah, it would just be like enjoyable to see that interaction and see like them interact. And I don't know how you'd have them interact or in what way, but I think it'd be enjoyable to see that potentially. So that's
Agreed.
another thing that I
Agreed.
think I'd want from a season 2.
Definitely agreed. So
And then just more
there
Scott and
are
Kip also.
there
Even if it's
are a
just a
lot
little
of
bit.
possibilities. Mhm. There are a lot of possibilities. We just have to wait and see. Maybe I'll lose my patience and read the book by then. I'll keep you posted. But overall, that's it for this episode of the Outcast. We hope you enjoyed it. What are your thoughts about Heated Rivalry? Did you like it just as much as we did? Do you think it fumbled here and there? Did you read the books? What do you think about those? And what do you want to see in the next season? Be it if you read the book or not, you can tell us all about it in the comment section below, on our Twitter, which is Bearcast with a capital B, capital C, and on our Tumblr, which is Bearcast Team. So until the next episode, I was HC.
I was Wolf.
And we will see you all next time. Take care.
Bye bye.
And play hockey or something. I don't know.